Athboy.
Thank you, Minister, for taking this, because I know that you are personally aware of the issue that I am raising in respect of Talbot House, the Talbot Group, which recently purchased Oldfield House on the outskirts of Athboy in County Meath to provide a residential home for adults with intellectual disabilities. And substantial works have been carried on this property to bring it to a standard which has been HICWA approved. But what parents and carers, as well as the local community, want, Minister, is for Oldfield House to provide respite services for adults with intellectual disability. So a respite service as opposed to a residential service. And I know I and many other public reps in the area have been making representations to you and to the HSE, but we have been advised that the funding is not available in the present year's budget to offer funding for respite services at this location. But funding, Minister, is not really the issue here, as funding is already being provided for a residential care facility at Oldfield House. It's a question, I suppose, of which pot is it coming out of. So I think what I'm asking you, what the families of adults with intellectual disabilities in Meath and indeed North West Meath are looking for, is a respite facility which will support the needs of over 70 families. And as a respite service, you know, these figures speak for themselves. As a residential service, we can look after 5 to 6 families. As a respite service, we could look over some 70 families. And this is an opportunity for people in Meath, North West Meath, and the families of those with special needs, which should not and it cannot be missed, Minister. And I know that you have a deep interest in that. You've taken a personal interest in this particular case as well, because Meath has been near to the bottom of the table for many years now in terms of respite services. There's effectively no respite option for families of over 18s with intellectual disabilities in my county, and we must compliment the fantastic work of the Special Hands Activity Group in County Meath, who have been leading the campaign to get respite services for intellectual disabilities in the county and indeed further afield as well. Minister, the Special Hands Group are acutely aware of the importance of respite care facilities and the lack of respite services in Meath and many other areas, and families in neighbouring counties, indeed Westmeath and Cavan, would also benefit from this service. And we now have a property sitting ready and waiting to provide respite services. And we can't let this opportunity pass us, Minister. We can't have a situation where a house which has been fully kitted out, which is HICWA approved, and could provide these facilities for so many people. And if we do, the Special Hands Group and families all over Meath, and indeed North West Meath, will be back to square one with regard to much needed respite services. So I think there are 2 very important issues I want to press you on here. One, there's a very short timeline to get funding for respite at Oldfield House. If the Talbot Group do not get an indication by November from the HSE that funding will be provided for respite services, they will begin the process of opening the property as a normal residential care service. And 2, if funding is approved for this respite service in Oldfield House and Athboy, which I hope it is, it must be ring-fenced towards respite care at this property. We need this facility to offer respite to families for many years to come, and to make sure that we can give those assurances. Thanks very much, Les Corlett.
First of all, I want to thank Deputy Cassells for raising this very, very important issue, and also for his own work in relation to Meath and supporting disability services. But I also think it's important that we understand the issue, the position in relation to the provision of funding for respite services for adults with intellectual disabilities in Athboy, County Meath. This government's ongoing priority is the safeguarding of vulnerable people in the care of the health service. We are committed to providing services and supports for people with disabilities which will empower them to live independent lives. This commitment is outlined in the programme for a partnership government. It is guided by 2 principles: equality of opportunity and improving the quality of life for people with disabilities. Respite services are an important part of the range of services supporting people with disabilities and their families. Respite care is crucial in helping to reduce family stress and to preserve the family unit and to provide stability. The need for increased respite services is acknowledged, and the HSE continues to work with all service providers to explore various ways of responding to this need in line with the budget available. As part of its ongoing service provision this year, the HSE will provide 182,500 respite nights and 32,662 day respite sessions to families in need right across the whole of the country. In 2018, there was significant improvement in respite. An additional £8 million was provided to fund 12 new respite houses. That's one in each HSE CHO area, plus an additional 3 houses in the Greater Dublin area to respond to the very high demand for respite from this area. These additional houses are providing additional respite for families that need it. All 12 houses are now fully open and fully operational. An extra €2 million was also provided to target alternative respite services. These are practical and important solutions such as summer camps, evenings and Saturday clubs. This year, €2 million is available to the HSE again for the provision of similar activities in each CHO area. This alternative respite is benefiting hundreds of adults and children. In relation to Talbot House, Athboy, I am informed by the HSE Midland Louth Meath Disability Services that a house was recently purchased by the Talbot Group and registered with HICWA for the provision of respite services to adults with disability. The decision to proceed with the purchase of this house was done independent to the HSE. Meath Disability Services does not currently have the available resources to fund this new respite service. While Midlands Louth Meath CHO sought funding to further develop residential respite service in the county as part of the estimates process for 2019, funding was not available to proceed with the same. However, I am informed that the Midlands Louth Meath CHO will continue to seek additional funding for residential respite in Meath, and this will be included in the estimates process for 2020. And this is a particular issue that I am also pushing as Minister. I am focusing on issues like respite, emergency residential and quality day services. Thank you.
I want to thank the Minister for his reply as well. But Minister, I'm going to take you up just on something you said towards the end of your comments when you said that the decision to proceed with the purchase of the house was done independent of the HSE. The way I would view that, Minister, is that the Talbot Group actually have taken the lead. They've taken the initiative. They have gone and seen that there was a requirement, and they went and established it, recognising the need for this facility. And they've listened to the voices of the people on the ground and that particular geographical area in Athboy. And I know those families as well, because I listen to them every week, because my constituency office is literally just a half a mile down the road from this particular facility. And they're frustrated because they see a fully equipped facility that could assist so many families. And if a change in attitude is not taken here, it's going to assist a very small amount of families. And so I refer to the kind of last points that you made, that there will be an attempt to seek additional funding for this. What I would actually ask you here today is that, and you have said it yourself, that you're going to try and assist in that as Minister, that we could get assurances that if such funding was acquired, that there would be a pathway there to see this developed as a respite service, and that we could give the Talbot Group some indicative assurances that that is something that you personally as Minister would like to see happen, notwithstanding that you have to go through the process of budgets and so forth, but that as Minister that you see this as a path, that this is a type of care that you back, and that if additional funding is obtained by yourself, that it can be ring-fenced and apportioned, and that yes, you would like to see this established as a respite service. If I could get at least that assurance from you this evening, Minister, that this is a concept that you back, and that if additional funding was to come into your pathway, that you would give them that assurance that yes, we could establish this as a respite service for those 70 families that would be looked after at Talbot House in Athboy.
Oh my God. Minister.
I'm very much aware of the importance of access to planned respite, and of course I agree with a lot of the comments that Deputy Shane Cassells has made, because we need to ensure that people with disabilities receive opportunities to socialise and facilitate families to receive a break from caring, preserve the family unit and provide stability. Of course, I also will do all in my power to assist to develop these services, and I'm well aware of the Talbot Group, and I do agree with you. And they are an excellent service provider, and I'm well aware of them as Minister over the last number of years. I know the staff as well, and I know the high standards, and I know what you're saying, the families have great confidence in them. But I also have to be very conscious that it also has to be an independent tenor as well, away from the Minister. Respite services are an important part of the range of services supporting people with disabilities and their families, and is crucial to reducing family stress. Short breaks can provide an opportunity for individuals to meet new people and widen their social circle and gain new experiences. The need for increased respite services is acknowledged, and I agree with you. and the HSE, and I will continue to work with all service providers to explore the various ways of responding to this line in line with the budgets that are available. There are currently 18 residential respite beds available to both adults and children in County Meath. And of course, I accept your point, use the figure 70 is the list that I'm hearing as well from people on the ground, from families and from people like I said. But as I said earlier, I am informed that Midlands Loud Meath CHO will continue to seek additional funding for residential respite in Meath, and this will be included in the estimates process. Thank you, Laskin.
Move on to the final